Welcome to I Love My HBCU ? The podcast where we express our undeniable love for HBCUs, but where we are also not afraid to address a few tough questions. So, sit back, learn a little, love a lot, and rep your HBCU.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this marvelous episode of I Love My HBCU ? This is a first. I always love to announce the firsts. Our first guest from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore, Victoria Casteel. How are you?
I am well. How about yourself?
No complaints. No complaints. We're both in Maryland. Maryland is a pretty
Yes,
amazing state. So
amazing
absolutely. Wait. I've been to UMES.
here.
I don't know if those of you who are on the campus realize how amazing and beautiful your campus is.
So we love our campus like during the day, but at night it's really pretty. Like the sunsets here are like unmatched. Like that's something we post about constantly.
Wow.
So when we first got here, we took it for granted, but like as time progressed, we're like, oh my gosh, okay, we do have one of the most beautiful campuses on Maryland, like the actual state. I think we were actually voted that a couple times before.
So those who are at my academic home are going to be rolling their eyes at me, but I'm going to be myself when I say that I happen to agree that University of Maryland Eastern Shore's campus might just be the most beautiful campus in Maryland, maybe not in the country, but in Maryland. There is just so much greenery around
Yes,
you. You feel like you're stepping into another world, I think, when one goes to your campus.
definitely.
What's your most, and we're still talking about the landscape and the picturesqueness of your, that's not a word, and the picturesque nature of your campus. What do you find? You've said the sunset, so now I have to come and actually experience the sunset on your campus.
Yes.
So beyond the sunsets, what do you find most beautiful about your campus?
So I find, of course, sunsets, like that's number one, but we have a lot of bodies of water on our campus. So when you first drive into campus, you just see this huge, like, little lake or pond. And we have our SSC, which is the Student Service Center, our bridge, that's just right across that pond. And it's just all the little ducks and swans that are over there sometimes, and it's just like so peaceful, especially at like 4 or 5 o'clock when the sun is like just getting ready to set but not quite there yet. It's like so pretty and peaceful, and we complain that we're on a farm, but like the farm is so pretty and peaceful that it's just like every time we walk over there, it's just like serene. It's just like you have to take it in because it's just so wow.
You make me want to come and visit again. I haven't been in years, and when I came, I was so focused on that we there was a competition that I was bringing some students to attend at UMES, and so I was so focused on that. I was not trying to take in the sights and the scenery and everything. I want to come back just to take that in because that sounds serene. Everything you just described
Yes.
sounds serene. Victoria, tell us about yourself.
Ooh.
What's your major on campus? What do you love about your major? Talk to us about you.
So I'm a second year student, so I'm a sophomore. I'm class of 2027, best class. I'm a biology pre-med major. Still in between that, but it's always going to be biology. So I'm a part of the Star STEM Scholar program here on campus, which is why I'm here at UMES in the first place. More about me, I'm heavily involved on campus. I'm in the SGA, NAACP, hold a lot of different roles and hats around this campus, which is a lot for a STEM major, but you know, when you want to go to med school, you have to get that resume going. I do undergraduate research. Started that my freshman year. And I just do a bunch of little fun things. And what was your second part of the question?
Before I get to the second part of the question, you just glossed over Star STEM scholars. And she's like, I'm a Star STEM scholar. So I've read your bio, so I could cheat and say, oh, so a star STEM scholar is, but I want you to tell us what a star STEM scholar is, especially for those who've never heard of it and those who are not at UMES.
Okay, so the Star STEM Scholar Program is funded by the HHMI, which is the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. We were granted the award of $2.5 million in 2022. So a year before we got here, my cohort, which is the first, so I'm the inaugural cohort. We call us the Genesis. And we were, 10 of us were taken from all over the country. Most of us are from Maryland, but we have students from Kentucky, even Hawaii, all over the country, that are students of color, but particularly Black and African American that are pursuing the field of STEM. And they are encouraging us to pursue a MD, PhD, or a PhD. In my case, they want me to pursue an MD, PhD, but that is like, But that's just the basic summary of the STARS program. We're on our second cohort now, and we are actively looking for our third. So, UMES, that might be the spot for you. We are a STEM heavy institution. So, stop on by.
I love that. So, and I'm glad I asked you to break down what the Star STEM scholars are, because I think credibility should be given to entities like the Howard Hughes Institute that see value in saying, hey, listen, I'm not good with the statistics, but I do know that there is a statistics that has been trailing all of us for the last few years about the numbers of minority in different medical fields.
Absolutely.
And again, kudos to those who saw that statistic and said, listen, let's be honest, finances is often the reason why these gaps exist. And it's great to want to see something different happen. But if you can put money where your intention is, that is even better. So I'm glad you broke that down. That allows those who might be interested in applying, who've never actually heard of this opportunity, that might actually now intrigue them about UMES. So thanks for sharing that. So the second part of the question was simply for you to tell us what it is that you do on campus, and you broke that down very nicely. You do a lot. You do a whole heck of a lot. Now, Victoria, I read in your bio, and you're a second year student, and we all know that just because I say I want to be an astronaut in year 1 or year 2 does not mean that's what I'm going to do. But I read in your bio that you want to focus on plastic surgery. But the way I read it was what's the word they use? Not cosmetic plastic surgery alone.
Reconstruction.
There we go. Thank
Yes.
you. Reconstruction plastic surgery, but especially for persons of minority backgrounds.
Yes.
And I have assumptions in my head why I think you're leaning towards that very specific space, but I'd like you to share with the audience why.
Okay, so my whole plan, like I've gone through so many different career paths within like growing up, like I want to do this, 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 and this. I've always say I want to be Barbie because she does literally everything. Which, if that was possible, I would absolutely do that. But
That sounds exhausting.
yes, exactly. So I'm like, what career path I can, one, first and foremost, help people, which is my sole goal, I feel like, on earth, period. And two, that I will constantly be busy because, as you know, I like to be busy all the time. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a doctor because it's the best of both worlds. I get to help people at all times, and I also am never not busy. So in my research of going down this medical path, I was like, okay, I know I wanted to be a surgeon because I was just like, okay, this is like kind of gross for a lot of people, but for me, I'm like, cutting and that type of stuff is like an art to me. So doing that type of stuff, it was like fascinating. A lot of people get freaked out when I say that, but yeah, I'm like, yeah. So I was like, okay, I want to be a surgeon, but I was like, okay, what type of surgeon? I was wrestling between all the different specialties, but then I saw the how rare it is for one, a person of color, black people, African Americans at that, and then a woman to be a plastic surgeon, how rare it is in America. So I'm like, okay, let me go down this path. But let me not go down the cosmetic route, which I
Hmm.
mean, I'll probably be certified in that later on down the line. But let me go down something that people actually would need, which is reconstruction. So, like burn victims, they'll need that reconstruction plastic surgery. People that are battling breast cancer, they'll need that reconstruction therapy, surgery. So that's kind of why I wanted to go down that path because I had people in my family that were in the military that needed these surgeons. And, everybody wants to look beautiful in their own right. So it's a definite need. And to have someone that looks like me see them for what they can be and what they want to be, I feel like that'll be really impactful. And yeah, that's the long story short.
I appreciate your response for several reasons. I don't know if have you seen the show Botched?
Yes, I have. I love that show.
So I don't love the show for the same
Mm,
reasons that you might love the show. You
mhm,
literally just said cutting is like art to you with
mhm,
regards to surgical procedures. That's not why I love the show.
mm.
I love the show for the latter part of what you said, and that is you've watched it. Anyone who hasn't, two celebrity surgeons, um, um, they do reconstruction for the
Yes.
most part, but for very different reasons. Some of the guests come to them and they have been botched with regards
Mhm.
to different cosmetic procedures. And the Dr. Dubrow, there we go, Dr.
Yes.
Dubrow, and oh
Inductive,
gosh,
massive,
look at you, thank
something like
you.
that. Yeah.
And honestly, if they ever got to see this, and I only got Dr. Dubrow's name right, and we did not get Dr. Nassif's name right, there might have been a playful argument between the two of
Massive.
them. So
Ooh.
thank you. Like, how do they just remember Dubrow? And Dubrow would have said it's because he's handsome. Like the two of them are really funny. I love that show. Anyway, and they do such a good job, I think, anyway, of connecting with the
Yes.
patient, and there is a concern, at least the way I see it when I watch it, a concern for the patient after the procedure, before, during, and after the procedure has been done.
Yes.
So when I heard you talk and tell us why that's what you're intrigued by with regards to reconstructive plastic surgery, I literally imagined not your own literal botched show, but Dr. Casteel with a patient that looks like her, at least based on cultural background, and a comfort level that one would assume will already be there because it's somebody who looks like me that is going to try to make sure that the blend is accurate, that
Hmm.
okay, we could keep going on this, but
Yes.
kudos to you, and kudos to all persons who don't find things like that a little bit gross, because I am that person that finds things like that just a little bit gross. So I'm grateful that there are the Victoria Casteels of the world that don't. Victoria, before we get a lot deeper into all that you are, and especially what kind of impact you want to make in the world, even beyond what you've shared, I'm going to throw the rapid fire segment at you. And if you've watched, you know this is where I throw a bunch of questions at you in 67 seconds, and I'm
Okay.
looking forward to your answers. Are you ready? She's ready. I
Let's
love it.
see.
She's ready. Okay. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Say ambitious, gorgeous, and helpful.
I love the gorgeous part.
Yes,
Listen,
had to
I
throw that
love the gorgeous part.
in
I love the rest too, but I love the gorgeous part. Okay, Victoria, you are at your college graduation. Who do you want as your commencement speaker?
there. Ooh. Um, Beyonce. Why not?
Sure. I hope people don't come for me because of that. Yay, Beyonce. What's
Like,
the
that's the first
best
one.
meal? What's the best meal at your college?
Last semester we had a seafood boil. That's the best meal we've had. That is like top tier.
I like that. I like
Yes.
that. I like that you didn't say fried chicken Wednesdays.
Mm-mm.
What's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs?
That they do prepare you for the real world.
Unpopular opinion. They do prepare you for the real
Yes.
world. Victoria, shout out your favorite professor or person on your campus.
Dr. Cornelius, Dr. Reader, and I'll shout out my RA just because told me because she's going to be doing great things for her life as a biology major too.
I love it. I love it. Okay, last question. What message do you have for your president that you have not shared with them yet?
Make me SGA president soon. That's next steps, next goal, maybe in the
They're
next
going
2 years.
they're going to see you as
Yeah.
the SGA president soon. I love these
Yes.
goals. I love these goals. I love these goals. Okay, that's it. I loved that. Okay, so you are from Prince George's County, which happens to be
Yes.
in Maryland, which
Yes.
means that you bypassed Howard University. You bypassed Bowie State University. You bypassed Coppin. You bypassed Morgan State University. And that's just mentioning the HBCUs. There's several
Yes.
other institutions.
Hmm.
And we know that the Star STEM Scholars was a big draw for you. But tell us your college selection journey. How did you pick UMES?
So my college selection journey, it was just like I honestly went into my senior year like, oh crap, college, what am I going to do? Okay, I came this far, but like I didn't think about the next steps because my like dead set goal was to go to NYU. NYU was like the goal. But then I saw how much NYU's tuition was.
Listen,
Yeah, I got accepted for their spring semester, but then they was like, no scholarship. It's $80,000 every single year out of pocket. And I was like, oh, never mind. So I think I applied to about 50 schools around the country, Hawaii, and I think one in Canada also, Toronto, University of Toronto. Um, Weighed my options out, got my scholarships back, and I was just like, okay. Let me just see what this is. My initial goal was to leave Maryland. Like, I was so dead set of leaving Maryland. I was like, I'm done with this state. It's nothing for me here. It's wraps. But my mom was like, you know what? You should give this school a chance. It's a little school, UMES. I was like, what is UMES? I've never heard of this school till I was applying here. I was like, okay, let me give it a shot. Because all the other schools I had applied to were like so much more bigger than here. They had given me less money than I would have got and all that. My story is a little bit different because I actually initially committed to a PWI all the way out in Ohio that was like huge, like 40,000 kids. And I think my mom, she like, I don't know, every time I go against her, something goes wrong. So, like, that was a blessing in disguise that she made me apply here because I'm like, I would have been swallowed up if I went to a big old school like that. So I came here because I got accepted into the scholarship program and I was blessing having a full ride within my undergrad career because I still have 10 plus years of school to go. So that's going to be a lot of money. So being in out of debt in undergrad, that's going to be like a blessing, you know. Although I didn't like take it, I took it for granted a lot at first. Now that I'm maturing, I'm realizing like, okay, this is definitely going to be something I'm going to be thanking my mom for later on.
yes, you will.
So, yeah. So UMES, it just attracted me because my mom was just like, girl, you need to go here because it's not too far away from home, but it's far enough that you can be away from us. Because that's what she knew I wanted to do. Even though I come home all the time. And it's far enough from, because Bowie is right where I grew up. So I'm like, I know everybody that go to Bowie.
Yeah.
And Morgan, everybody that didn't want to go to Bowie went to Morgan. So I'm just like, okay, this is a change of scenery. Everybody that goes here is from Baltimore. I never really, well, for the most part, I never really encountered people from Baltimore. So it's a change of scenery, definitely. So I'm happy to be here. Small school, and it's so much more easier for me to get involved than those other bigger schools because it's just like a cat fight to get into a leadership position over there. Here is so easy for me to do it because it's just like small campus. If people see you doing this, they're going to be like, okay, period. You're here. You're doing this. It's not a popularity contest. We see you for what you are and what you bring. So, yeah.
There's so many. Number one, shout out to mom. So mom, thank
Yes.
you. Um, mom was looking out for you in more ways than one.
Yes.
Clearly mom knows her daughter, even though
Mm-hmm.
her daughter was trying to run so far
Yes.
away. Because what I hear in the smallness of the school is that you're finding your voice a little easier. That's what I hear from
Definitely.
that.
Yes.
And with bigger schools, you could get a little swallowed up depending on what kind of person you are. So I hear that. I also hear something that I hear consistently, and that is, and I always use this opportunity to remind whoever ends up hearing this, but especially corporations that
Mm-hmm.
end up hearing this, that the journey of especially a black college student picking college isn't always as freeing as it might be for others. And all I mean by
Yes.
that is $80,000 per
Mm-hmm.
year versus here's a full scholarship
Mm-hmm.
makes a massive difference.
Yes.
And because we all know now the effects of, at least many of us know now, the effects of that college debt later on is like a noose around your neck.
Yes.
Even if you did not necessarily see UMES as your first choice, the money, the financial freedom that it
Yes.
opens up for you later on becomes a reason why you choose it. So I always like to spotlight that within a lot of these stories, because a lot of the undergraduate student selection, even the alumni, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the college selection journeys, you always hear that piece. It's the money. It's the money,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder, if money was no obstacle, where would you go?
I love UMES, but of course I would either be at NYU or our big HBCU up the street, Howard. Howard was just like the premier. Probably FAMU. My granddad really wanted me to go to
Go to
FAMU.
FAMU.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So, and I listen, when I ask that question, especially when people end up hearing this, I need there to be an understanding that this isn't a matter of thinking that somebody like Victoria Casteel has any regret being at UMES. I'm sure you love it, and we're about to get into
Yes.
that very shortly. But it's a matter of, you rob someone from the choice, their first choices and their second choices, and sometimes their third choices, when there is this massive burden of financial debt that is associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, Victoria, back to UMES.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what does UMES get right for you? Like, what do they get right
Mm-hmm.
for you?
So, of course, me being involved in campus, like even before I got here, all the student leaders I spoke to, like one of the former Miss UMESs I spoke to before I got here, because my initial plan was to go into Imperial Court. Um, she was just saying how easy it was for her to get involved and to get into that position because of how close knit and family like the school was. Because every time you look around, you're like, okay, I be seeing you every day. Like, let me just go up and talk to you because you're here, I'm here, we in the same circles clearly. So what's up? So being like a family, so the size, that's what they got right for me. The faculty here, I'd say if I feel like I went to another school, it wouldn't be as easy for me to get that one-on-one connection with
Mm,
them.
mm.
Our class sizes are small enough that if I have a question after class, I can pull my teacher aside any time of day, go to their office hours, and there's never like a line wrapped around the corner to go talk to my professor. If I email my professor sometimes 9 o'clock at the on, sorry, 9 o'clock at night, she gonna email me back like, "What's up? How can I help you? I'll email you something
Nice.
back tomorrow morning."
Oh,
And another thing they got right, I'm say three, because three's magic number, is doing undergraduate research. UMES, they're trying to get their research credits up, and that's definitely working. So for me, I was required to do research as an undergrad for my scholarship program, but I know a lot of students, they don't realize to get into medical school, you do need that research opportunity. I was not one of those students that knew that till I got here. So
hmm.
starting that research my freshman year, I feel like definitely gave me the leg up, and many people have told me that it's such a blessing that you started so early
Yeah.
so you could grasp your head around what's going on in the lab, what complex things that I'm working with PhD students, graduate students, PharmD students on campus doing the same research they do to get published in undergrad. So that's what they got right to
That's
make a
impressive.
long list. Yes.
That's not a long list. That's a good, strong
Hmm.
list. And I like to hear that there is a push for you to get published at the undergraduate level together
Yes.
with the graduate students. That's a lot that UMES has gotten right. I love to hear that.
Yes.
I also love the fact that you mentioned with regards to UMES earlier on, if you recall when I asked you what's your unpopular opinion about HBCUs, it's making sense.
Hmm.
You sound like somebody who, regardless of what your decision is, you are feeling prepared for the next step.
Definitely.
And
Yes.
we've heard the opposite
Hmm.
about HBCUs. So listen, for those who've heard the opposite, you're hearing Victoria Casteel say it here. And granted, it was an unpopular opinion that she listed. She's just given three very good reasons why, for her, it's an unpopular opinion that needs to be thwarted and
Yes.
needs to be valued as, I'm sorry guys, some HBCUs do prepare you quite well
Hmm.
for college, sorry, for post college. So
Yes.
good for you. Okay, what do you want them to get right? If I ask what do they get right, I'm always going to ask what would you like to see them get right?
I don't know. Let me think. Some like
And if there's nothing,
non-HBCUs.
then that's
Uh,
fine.
no, all HBCUs, all colleges, they have their issues definitely. So I just say communicating better with their students. Like
I've heard a
transparency is
lot.
key. We've had our issues, especially this past like school year, this past semester period. Like it's been a lot going on. But if they just spoke to the students of how they speak to the student leaders that are asking the questions for the students on their behalf, advocating, I feel like a lot of these issues and a lot of these problems that the students have been just like going off about on like the little apps like Fizz and stuff, it wouldn't be like, it would almost zero it out. Like just be straight up with students. Like I feel like my generation, we're one of the most real speaking people. Like we just want to be told the truth. We don't care if it's blunt. We don't care if it's sad, bad, or anything in between. We just want to hear like what's really going on. And once we know that, we're gonna be like, okay, we understand. So just being more transparent. And I feel like the transparency, that'll just do the domino effect with everything else. So that's, if you've just fixed that one issue, everything else, I promise, will figure itself out.
So, Victoria, you're not the first. I don't think you'll be the last.
Yeah.
Undergraduate student, especially at an HBCU, who says communication with students is the problem. So let me let you in on a maybe not so secret little secret. And that is, I think they think that they're actually communicating well with you.
Mm-hmm.
So if they think that they're communicating well with you, but so many of you that I talk to anyway say, we need to fix this communication. What advice or suggestion do you have on how they communicate with you? Because that may be the missing link. So I'll give you an example, right? I know, for example, that if all I do is send emails to my students, yeah, they're not reading it.
Yeah.
You guys don't mind you, we send a lot of opportunities in those emails and all of that. I'd have to send it like 55.5 million times, and you're so tired of it to see it. And mind you, all these transparency issues and some of the things that we might be doing that's making the university better might be in those emails, but you're not reading them. What's the how for example, I bet you there's a president out there who's going to hear you and say, I hear her, we do communicate, clearly we're not communicating because it's not getting through. How should we do it better? What would be your advice?
So, firstly, just access. Be like, hey, what can we do to make this better for you? Like, if you ask someone, they will answer the question honestly. Like, it's not that hard. Just like, go up to a student and be like, hey, like, we know our administration space very well because, like, they walk around the campus. They be like, hey, what's up? Hey, be like, hey, Dr. Anderson. Hey, VP. Like, da 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 da. We say hello to these people because we know them. We know their faces really well. But if they just ask us those questions, I feel like that'll work. But no, to go into my SGA side of things with the Empowerment Administration, we use social media as our like number one tool to communicate with students. Our Instagram page and our Fizz account, which is like the number one used app by most students on campus, Fizz and Instagram, we like use those to be like, hey, like what's going on? Like, what do you need from us? Every flyer we have, we've posted on those two apps because we know the students are going to see it. If we email them something, most of the students, even though I try to push them, you need to check your email. We're in college, guys. Come on. But they're not going to check it. We get those same 10,000 emails every single week from the university. They're not going to check it regardless of who it's from.
Yeah.
So using social media, and then we also do word to mouth a lot. So having the student leaders or just students that have a lot of like, let's say clout around campus, like just go around and ask and be like, what can they do? Da 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 da. Like that's going to work for them. Like it's really so simple of a solution to me that it's just like you just can access like that.
So this is what I hear from you. I hear stop being so formal about all of it
Yes.
all the time. And
Yes.
sometimes you will get through to us a lot better when it isn't so formal. Okay. Listen, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm taking notes. And the reason why I'm saying it that way, that I don't know about everybody else, but I'm taking notes. There's no point to a university campus if the students aren't there. That's who we're there to serve. That's who we're there to advocate for. So I want to make sure that we are getting through to each other. So that's why I say I'm taking notes. Less formality, more direct communication.
Yes.
So I said I was going to come back to this, Victoria. I know you are, and we're speaking it into existence for you, you and I. You are going to be Dr. Victoria Casteel someday.
Yes.
In the space that you want to be in. And you've talked about some of the stuff that you want to do in order to make impact. In our world, there's so much going on. When you think about what you're doing now, what you want to do in the future, what kind of impact do you want to have?
Ooh, great question. Impact. I always say I want to leave a legacy behind me. Like, I want people to talk about the good I did for those around me or those that I didn't even get to be around, but like the impact was felt like all over the world or all over the country. How many ever people I'm allowed to help out, I want them to be like, oh my gosh, this is Dr. Casteel or Victoria Casteel. She helped me out with this. She did this, that, and the third. Like, speak about me positively because I did something to positively impact your life. And my goal is, of course, to be in healthcare. So I really want to do something with like skin grafting with burn victims, like to have some type of revolutionary way to make skin grafts almost like invisible, to like make it look like nothing ever happened there.
Happened, yeah.
So something like that. I just want to have a positive impact, and that legacy is just, I don't want anyone to say anything like negative about me. Just be like only positive words ever. Be like, this person was just amazing. She was spectacular. Like, people are always going to say something negative because, we're still growing and whatever. But, just for the work I'm planning to do and the work I'm doing now, I just want them to be like, okay, of all the things that led up to this journey, this was the end goal for her and she achieved that. So, yeah.
So your impact is going to be felt within the world of healthcare. It sounds as if, because listen, we are multidimensional human beings. So you're going to have human impact with regards to who you are as a person. But I
Hmm.
also hear professionally and socially, you
Yeah.
want your impact to be felt within healthcare. Um, if you were to grade, right? You get to be the professor for right now. If you were to grade the manner in which the United States of America approaches healthcare for African American people,
Mm.
what grade would you give it? And very briefly, why?
So I give it, it's a work in progress. So I give it a C minus right now. It's working. I'll speak a little bit on it because I'm still educating myself on it. But
Absolutely.
Um, I come from, a fortunate enough family that we're like doing well. So I never really had to worry about stuff like that. But I have other people in my family that have to worry about healthcare, have to worry about where this next bill is gonna be paid from, or they're just how they're living because their healthcare plan doesn't cover this, that, and the third because of the job they're working or their financial situation. So I think it definitely, of course, needs to be better just because minorities, I feel like, get the short end of the stick in all situations. And especially in America, Black people get the shortest end of the stick, um, which is really unfortunate because it's my people and I don't want them to be treated that way. That's why I want to be someone. If it's not in the field of healthcare, one of my other interests is just advocacy, period. So just being a person to advocate for those that aren't as fortunate as I am, just to speak up for them, speak out for them, just to see what they need and see how I can use my privilege to change the system that we're currently in. So,
Victoria, I'm smiling for several reasons. I'll give you one. Um, I work in the space of social impact, advocacy, and civic engagement. And I don't always find that those at the top, the leaders, are spending enough time listening to the next generation. And I smiled because there is a humility in the way you began your answer. And the humility was, I'm still learning about this. This is something that I want to make an impact in, and I'm fully clear that I don't know everything that I need to know about it,
mhm.
but I'm educating myself. And then you proceeded to give your answer. And it warmed my entire soul because I think we must continue to listen to your generation because no matter how much we think we have it right, you are the ones that are going to be working in it very soon. And because you're the ones that are going to be working on it very soon, there's a lot of stuff that we're doing that you're going to change. So whether we think you know what you're saying or not, as I've heard some people say, we must listen to you. Victoria, you are a delightful young lady. You already know this. It has been my absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. But before we leave, I always end with this one question, and that is leave our audience with a parting word or short phrase on why you, Victoria Casteel, loves HBCUs.
I love HBCUs because they will shape who you are in the future. They will build your character. They will make you love your brother and your sister more than you ever have and will in your entire life. Unity will bring you love, will bring you peace, will bring you a space to be yourself always. And that's why I love my HBCU.
Dr. soon to be Dr. Victoria Casteel, it has been my absolute pleasure having this conversation with you. Anyone who is hearing the sound of my voice, who is watching these two beautiful Black women on the screen, it is impossible for you not to like this episode because of Dr. Victoria Casteel. It is also impossible for you not to go ahead and hit that like button because of her. I hope I have done a good enough job to earn your subscription to I Love My HBCU the podcast. Till next time, yours in HBCU love, Victoria. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to I Love My HBCU ? Let's keep the conversation going as we share our stories and encourage more practical support of HBCUs, whilst of course holding each other accountable. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, love and lift your HBCU.